Hey, how you doing? I'm Riley, and you're listening to the second episode of my podcast, Rise Records. This is where I discuss the albums in my collection that have shaped me as a person and that have inspired me within my own songwriting. Before I get started on today's episode, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who has listened and downloaded the first episode of the podcast. If you missed it, that first episode is called Catapulted into the Stratosphere, 50 Years of Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run. I released it on the 25th of August to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the record. And the response to that has been such a joy. I really didn't know what to expect when I started doing this. I just kind of started doing it because I wanted a space to talk about the music I love and why I love it. And to see people reacting to it and joining me has just been absolutely amazing. So thank you all. Let's get on to today's record, shall we? So today I'm going to be looking into an album that didn't just change Tom Petty's career, it revealed his soul. And it's an album that upon first listen I absolutely fell in love with. The beautiful melodies and truthful lyrics hooked me instantly. That album is none other than Wildflowers, which was released in November of 1994. It's a record that sounds somewhat effortless, but behind its gentle melodies and soft production is a storm of heartbreak, identity crisis, and ultimately freedom. So settle in, maybe go grab yourself a cup of tea or something. Here's the story of how Tom Petty made the most personal record of his career and why we can still hear it echoing today. First off, let's rewind to the late 80s, early 90s. Tom had just come off a couple of major wins with the Heartbreakers record Into the Great Wide Open and his solo debut record, Full Moon Fever, both of which were produced by Electric Light Orchestra's Jeff Lynne. On paper, things looked great, but personally, it's known that Tom was somewhat unraveling at this point. He was about to separate from his wife of 22 years and was also battling an intense depression, something he hid from the public the best he could. For the first time in his life, he had started therapy. I was just coming out of a real dark place, he told Rolling Stone some years later. And then there was the music industry pressure. He was tired of being Tom Petty, the cool, confident rock star we all knew and loved. He needed to write something real. So when he started working on Wildflowers, he didn't call the Heartbreakers straight away. He called Rick Rubin. Now, Rick Rubin might seem like an unlikely choice for a Tom Petty album. For those listening who don't know him, he essentially made his name producing the Beastie Boys, the thrash metal band Slayer, and he did Johnny Cash's comeback records. But Rick Rubin has a gift. He strips artists down to their essentials, and I think that's exactly what Tom needed. Rick told him, don't think about writing a hit, just write. So Tom wrote and wrote and wrote well over 25 songs, all vulnerable and all deeply personal. The band they assembled was loose, and the sessions felt relaxed. The mood was acoustic, rootsy, organic. Think porch jam, not arena tour. This was Tom Petty off script, not chasing hits, but chasing some kind of honesty with a cup of herbal tea in one hand and a joint in the other. Okay, now I'm going to go through the original 15 songs from Wildflowers and explain how Tom put all of his feelings into them, thus creating the record we know and love. We'll start off with the gentle opener, Wildflowers. The beautiful combination of Tom's acoustic strumming and Benmont Tench's simple but effective piano part make it sound like a sort of lullaby. The simplicity of the music reflects the lyrical theme of wishing someone the freedom to find peace, joy, and belonging, much like a wildflower flourishing in its natural place. Tom's vocal delivery here is tender and sincere, almost conversational, which makes the song feel like a heartfelt blessing rather than a dramatic statement. Then there's the immortal line, "You belong somewhere you feel free." This is potentially also freedom masked as a farewell. I think it's widely interpreted as Tom's goodbye to his wife, but also a goodbye to the version of himself he'd now outgrown. Alright, let's move on now to the song that follows Wildflowers, You Don't Know How It Feels. This was the big single to come from the record. It's playful on the surface with Tom's harmonica and Steve Ferrone's laid-back groove, but the lyrics reveal a kind of restless loneliness and a desire for personal autonomy. Tom is saying, you can't possibly understand what it feels like to be me as I'm stuck in this moment of upheaval. I suppose the heart of this song is the theme of isolation, and its upbeat groove makes that hard to remember as you're listening. My favorite line from this song comes from the verse where Tom sings, "People come, people go. Some grow young, some grow cold. I woke up in between a memory and a dream." I often find myself revisiting old friends who have since left my life as they appear in my dreams sometimes. And so when I heard this line for the first time, I felt a deep connection to Tom and his songwriting. And I knew that he was going to stick with me for a long, long time. It was just one of those things, Fun fact about this song, the famous chorus line, "So let me get to the point, let's roll another joint," became such a radio controversy, with some radio stations taking the word joint and reversing it, or completely taking it out of the song so that you couldn't possibly know what Tom was saying. It was a taboo subject, I guess. If you haven't heard it, the acoustic demo for this track is so good. It always makes me feel so relaxed. I don't know, that there's just something about the way that Tom plays it, sort of like laid back. I kind of feel like Tom is like in my studio with me, and we're just hanging out, when I listen to that. It's just so nice. Alright, moving on to the third track, Time to Move On. Wow, that's ironic. Did not pick that up when I wrote this. This one is, in my opinion, a spiritual cousin to the opener. This is Tom at his most self-reflective. He's wrestling with the inevitability of change, that bittersweet realization that sometimes you have to leave behind what's comfortable in order to grow. Notice how the production here is simple. Just acoustic guitar, gentle percussion, and Tom's voice is sort of soft. Rick Rubin wanted Tom's vulnerability to shine through the mix, and I think he did a really outstanding job of that here. This one always makes me smile when I'm feeling down, just hearing those opening lines. It's time to move on. It's time to get going. What lies ahead, I have no way of knowing. But under my feet, baby, grass is growing. It's time to move on. Time to get going. Always reminds me that it's okay to move forward, and that change is often good in the long run, and you just have to let time take time. Okay, next up we have You Wreck Me, and this is the rocker of the record. It has a loose, hard-driving sound that mirrors the reckless intensity described in the lyrics. The jangling guitars, steady backbeat, and slightly ragged edge give this song a sense of urgency and abandon, as if it could come off the rails at any moment, just like the unpredictable love Tom sings about. The verses are straightforward and punchy, building into that soaring chorus. You wreck me, baby, yeah, you break me in two. Oh, but you move me, honey, yes you do. It feels both liberating and turbulent at the same time. The contrast between the propulsive energy of the music and the emotional vulnerability in the words creates a balance. The sound embodies the thrill of being pulled into something wild and consuming, while the lyrics acknowledge the chaos and risk that come with it. It's a song that feels alive in its imperfection, perfectly echoing the idea of surrendering to love, even when it's messy and dangerous. Track number 5, we have It's Good to Be King. We start off with that beautifully simple piano introduction by Bedmont Tench. Upon the first listen, it sounds like a kind of celebration. Who wouldn't want to be king? But if you listen closely, it's laced with melancholy. Tom is singing about fame, the perks of success, but also how empty it can sometimes feel. The brass orchestration swells into one of the most beautiful musical moments on the album, and one of the most beautiful musical moments I've ever heard in my life, underscoring the tension between grandeur and loneliness. This song also has one of my favorite lyrical passages of all time. Excuse me if I have some place in my mind where I go time to time. This particular line struck me because I'm a big daydreamer. I do have a habit of going into some sort of place in my mind where only I can go and everything's alright there, And so, whenever that line comes on, it resonates. Okay, track number 6, we have Only a Broken Heart. I think this is Tom at his most delicate. The lyrics are minimal and the arrangement is hushed. It's almost like a diary entry. Right from the introductory, straightforward acoustic guitar drums, you can hear the sadness of a relationship unraveling, but also a quiet acceptance. There's no rage or bitterness here. Tom opens up the song with the lines, "Here comes that feeling I've seen in your eyes, back in the old days, before the hard times. But I'm not afraid anymore, it's only a broken heart." And then later on, there's the reflective passage, "What would I give to start all over again, to clean up my mistakes?" He's sort of saying, well, yeah, things didn't turn out that great, and they're messed up, but it will all get better. There's so much more to life, and it will reveal itself in due time. After all, it's only a broken heart. Track number 7, we have Honeybee. Now this is a total mood shift. It's raw, it has a bluesy, playful guitar riff, and the lyrics are just a tad ridiculous. Tom really lets loose here and gives the record some unexpected swagger after a delicate song beforehand. Just that last chorus. "She give me her monkey hand and a Rambler sedan. I'm the king of Milwaukee. Her juju beads are so nice. She kissed my third cousin twice. I'm the king of Pomona." Well, I've got something to say. These lyrics are certainly something. It kind of reminds me of the ramblings John Lennon came up with for Come Together. But this kind of makes a little bit more sense, I suppose. Anyway, even within the bravado, there's a sense of clinging, needing someone and wanting to feel alive again. But at its core, this song is just a feel-good rocker. Track number 8, we have Don't Fade on Me, a complete opposite to the previous track. This is one of the most stripped-down songs Tom has ever recorded. It's just 2 guitars, finger-picked, and it's almost like a private conversation. He's pleading with someone not to disappear emotionally, not to give up on him. It's a song of intimacy and vulnerability, and it almost feels too raw to listen to, like reading someone's private letter and not being able to take your eyes off of it. The lines that really resonate with me are these ones. "You were the one who made things different. You were the one who took me in. You were the one thing I could count on. Above all, you were my friend. So don't fade on me." You can really feel Tom's personal life peeking through the curtain here. It's in his voice. Take a listen and see for yourselves. I think you'll know what I mean. Track number 9, we have Hard on Me. This one's direct. It's frustration, exhaustion, and Tom was never a confessional songwriter in the way some artists are, but here he lets the anger peek through with the one line of the song that really sticks out to me. "Maybe if I tried, I could turn the other cheek. Maybe, but how big do I have to be?" It's Tom saying, like I could, but why would I? What's the point? You're the one who's causing all this pain I'm feeling. Tom's frustration really shines through that line, and it's like the calm before the storm, but the storm never arrives. Track number 10, we have Cabin Down Below. Now here's a song that's loose, swampy, and playful. It feels like a barnyard type jam with friends, but beneath the surface, it's yet another metaphor for escapism, a hideaway, a secret space, and I think probably an affair. Tom loosely sings, "Come on, go with me, babe. Come on, go with me, girl. Baby, let's go to the cabin down below. I got a radio, put it on soft and low. Baby, let's go to the cabin down below." The duality of fun and longing runs through this song with the help of that funky backbeat-driven riff. It's in the same league as Honeybee, as it rips up the depressing themes from the songs previous and makes you groove until you can't move. Track number 11, we have To Find a Friend. This is perhaps one of the saddest songs on the record, disguised as an upbeat acoustic tune. It tells the story of a man who leaves his family, changes his life only to find himself feeling lonely. It's written in the third person, but I think it's impossible not to connect it to Tom's crumbling marriage at the time. It's stark, honest, and devastatingly simple. What I love about the song is the chorus. "And the days went by like paper in the wind. Everything changed and then changed again. It's hard to find a friend. It's hard to find a friend. Paired with the upbeat acoustic vibe behind it, it goes back to what I was talking about with You Don't Know How It Feels. You can sometimes forget the true meaning of a song whilst getting lost in the music surrounding the lyrics. Track number 12, we have A Higher Place. This one has almost a gospel-like drive. Tom is yearning for something beyond the everyday struggles, a place of peace, redemption, and clarity. It's both spiritual and grounded, embodying that restless search for meaning with a tinge of hope. That chorus line, find somebody who can help somebody who might be nobody no more, is a call for action. We have to find someone who can help us because we're feeling like we're not anybody anymore. We got to get to a metaphorical higher place so that we can find ourselves again. Track 13, we have House in the Woods. This song is probably best described as being earthy and atmospheric. It feels like stepping away from the noise of the world, but it's not peaceful. It's eerie and somewhat restless. The house in the woods Tom sings about isn't safety, it's solitude. Another example of Tom confronting just what it means to be alone is represented through these lyrics. Summertime falls on the house in the woods, back by the power lines. I ain't got a neighbor for 9 or 10 miles, back in the tall pines. Now, I do just have to say that this is probably my least favorite song on Wildflowers. Not because I don't like it, it just doesn't resonate with me as much as some of the other songs on the record. So I honestly don't really have much else to say about this track other than the chord progression is pretty nice. Okay, the penultimate song on Wildflowers, Crawling Back to You. This is maybe the emotional centerpiece of the album, driven by that ethereal piano introduction given again by Benmont Tench. Tom admitted that this was one of his most personal songs ever, and I can definitely understand why. It's about regret, longing, and vulnerability. Now, the lyrics that really resonate with me and a lot of people around the world are taken from the bridge, where Tom sings, I'm so tired of being tired, sure as night will follow day. Most things I worry about never happen anyway. Those lines distill a lifetime of weariness and wisdom into just a few words. I'm so tired of being tired isn't just physical fatigue, it's the emotional exhaustion that comes from carrying worry, regret, and uncertainty for too long. Then Tom turns philosophical. Sure as night will follow day, most things I worry about never happen anyway. It's a moment of perspective, almost like he's laughing gently at himself, recognizing how much of life's energy is wasted on imagined fears. That shift from heavy to light, from weariness to release, feels like a balm for listeners. It reminds us that even in our darkest hours, most of what weighs us down may never come to pass. And that realization really does carry its own kind of quiet freedom. Okay, we've arrived at the 15th and final song on Wildflowers, Wake Up Time, the closer. And what a closer it is. We start with that beautiful piano introduction in 3/4 time, followed by Tom's softly sung, on the cusp of spoken word opening lines. This song is all about renewal and hope. Tom saying, you've been asleep, you've been avoiding the truth, but now it's time to face life head on. The lines, you spend your life dreaming, running around in a trance. You hang out forever and still miss the dance. And if you get lucky, you might find someone to help you get over the pain that will come. Are my favorite from this track. They've given me so much hope and positive thoughts about my future. It's like when I hear him singing this song, Tom is speaking directly to me. Wake Up Time is just the perfect bookend to Wildflowers, beginning with freedom and ending with a parental-like awakening. This is, in my opinion, Tom's most beautiful song. It's so simple and yet so powerful. These songs on Wildflowers feel almost journalistic in their emotional honesty, but Tom wasn't a confessional songwriter in the traditional sense. He rarely wrote literally about himself, and Wildflowers changed that. His daughter Adria later said it was the only time he allowed himself to be vulnerable in his writing. And it wasn't just the lyrics. The way he sang them, often half-whispered, loose, unguarded, it felt like a therapy session set to music. This was Tom Petty not just as a songwriter, but as a man rediscovering who he was. Now, before I finish up, I do want to quickly touch on the other songs Tom wrote for Wildflowers that didn't make it to the record. If you didn't know already, Wildflowers was initially supposed to be a double album. Tom recorded 25 plus songs, but the label said it was too long, so he cut it down to 15, and the second half became a myth among fans for so many years. After Tom's death in 2017, his family and longtime bandmates finally released it as Wildflowers and All the Rest in 2020. Songs like Something Could Happen, Leave Virginia Alone, Confusion Wheel, Hope You Never weren't B-sides. They were the other side of the conversation. The expanded album also included home demos. You can hear Tom working out the lyrics in real time. It's like peeking into his diary or through his curtains. I think I actually listened to those demos more than the actual record itself, especially the one, There's a Break in the Rain, Have Love Will Travel. That one I absolutely adore. It's just so beautifully done. Seriously, if you're ever looking for something nice and relaxing to listen to, put on the Wildflowers home demos. It's just Tom and his guitar in his home studio. They're all very intimate and they're all very unique. So we know that Wildflowers didn't have the biggest singles, but over time it became the emotional core of Tom Petty's career. Even he said it was the best thing he ever made. Us fans of Tom return to it in our most vulnerable moments. I mean, I know I most certainly do. This record was one of a few that helped me get through my recent breakup, because it's a message of comfort, release, and letting go. And in many ways, Wildflowers became Tom Petty's goodbye before he even knew it. We all miss him, and we all love him. One of the biggest regrets I have in life is not being able to meet the man. So I'm just glad that I can listen back on his music and be thankful that he was around to help us when we most needed it. Well, that's all I've got time for on today's episode of Rise Records. I hope this walk through Wildflowers helped you hear it a little differently, or at least maybe a little more deeply. If you liked the episode, please like, follow, and share it with someone who might need a reminder that it's okay to let go, start over, and feel free. I sincerely hope you'll join me again next week as I'll be discussing the 1969 debut record from Crosby, Stills and Nash, and how it helped define the California sound. So, until the needle drops again, I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I'll see you soon.